Hello, on this edition of Commuter Connections, we'll introduce you to MDOT-MTA's new Director of Human Resources and tell you about employment opportunities within the agency. MDOT-MTA police are looking for a few good individuals to join their ranks as police officers. We'll introduce you to their important recruiting efforts. We've got a look at what MDOT-MTA is doing in the area of bus operator training. And you'll meet the winner and champion of the MDOT-MTA Rail Rodeo competition, all right here. It takes a dedicated staff of people to keep a large transit agency like MDOT-MTA running each day. But where do you get all these qualified people from? From the MDOT-MTA Human Resources Department, which is charged with recruiting and processing the large number of people who fill the ranks in transit at MDOT-MTA. Brian Hoffmaster, the agency's new Director of Human Resources, joins us with a look at what they do there. Welcome to Commuter Connections.
Thank you, great to be here.
And welcome to MDOT-MTA.
Thank you for that as well.
So when did you actually join the agency?
That one's pretty easy. I joined on Valentine's Day, so a date that I should always know. I should never forget my work anniversary.
And tell us a little bit about your background and your experience in human resources.
Sure, I've always worked in HR, so I've worked about 27 years, my whole career all in HR. Spent almost 20 years working for a large company, then worked about 7 or so years in higher education, and then joined MTA.
And as the Human Resources Director, give us a sense of what do you do exactly for MDOT-MTA?
Yeah, it feels like some days I'm still figuring that out, right? I'm relatively new. But in a nutshell, I think it's a few different things. One is obviously trying to lead this team of HR professionals that are part of the Office of Human Resources. There are a number of people that do different things, but my job in general is trying to provide guidance and direction, help establish priorities and goals, and make sure that the work we do is tied to what the organization needs us to do.
And I know many times people think of human resources as the hiring part of the business or the organization, but I know it's a lot more than that. Tell us a little bit about, how you would describe human resources in your current role with MDOT-MTA.
Yeah, as you noted, most people do know us from the recruiting side, right? It's the piece that touches people, it's how they come into the organization. But it's one piece of what we do. So we divide our work into what we call sections. So one is classification and compensation, doing the kinds of things that you would expect around pay, job classifications, job evaluation. Another is benefits. So MTA is unique in that we don't only manage the state interface with benefits for those employees, but we also have our own plans that we manage for union employees, namely pension, health, and welfare. So those are unique for us. Recruiting and examination. Examination is the pre-employment testing piece that some people go through. And then the last piece for us is employment services, which is new employee onboarding. They manage employee information and files and do a lot of other things for us.
Okay, seems like quite a bit.
There's a good range there.
Quite a bit. So how large is the HR staff?
It's a great question. There are about 19 of us in total. We're not fully staffed at the moment. We have some vacancies, like others do in the organization. But at full strength, there are 19 of us, and we also have the support of a few agency temporary workers.
And for those who may be looking for a job at MDOT-MTA, what are some advice that you might give?
When we get that question a lot, obviously a lot of people come to our office looking for jobs or calling about jobs. The first thing I'd say is monitor our job postings. So they're online. I'll talk more about that in a minute. So monitor the job postings. Obviously they come and go depending on what's active at the moment. Pay attention to what's there. So if you see something that looks interesting to you, read the job description, check out the qualifications that are posted, think about how your skills match up to those qualifications, and if it looks like a good fit, by all means, we encourage you to apply.
So where can they actually find the information? The job application?
Yeah, there are a couple of ways to do it. The easiest one, quite frankly, is to go to the MTA internet site, so mta.maryland.gov. If you look at the About MTA link on that site, there's a section called Employment, and there are links there to information about working at MTA, to the actual job posting site. That's the best way to find it. If you don't have internet access or don't want to do that, you can certainly drop by the office. So we're located at 6 St. Paul in downtown Baltimore, and our offices are on the 5th floor. So you can come in, you can look at active job postings. We always have those available in the office as well.
And do you do anything like LinkedIn? Do you do any postings?
We do a little bit with LinkedIn. That's primarily for what we call career service or executive service postings.
Okay.
So we do make some use of LinkedIn, but for most of the jobs, the most frequently posted jobs, really the job posting site is the best place to go.
Now, what types of positions are you currently looking for, and which do you find harder to recruit for?
MTA has about 3,500 employees, depending on how you count and when you count, as you probably know. At any given time, we've got 140 to 150 of those that are vacant, so the ones that we're trying to fill. And as you might guess with that number, there's a range. So it's everything from senior executive to anything that you can think of that would be supporting the organization. If you look at what we post most frequently, they tend to be jobs where we have the most people anyway. Operators would be the top of the list, primarily bus operators, but also rail operators. That's the biggest one by far. Behind that would be what we call repairmen, which are really skilled trades positions, mechanical or electrical trades. That would be the second biggest. And the third biggest tends to be police officers.
And I know sometimes when people are actually going through the job interview, they get a little nervous, right? We all do. So what are some tips that you would offer?
Yeah, my first tip would be to realize that almost everybody's a little nervous and that the interviewers probably know that, right? So I think they'll cut you a little bit of slack. Being nervous alone won't be a problem for the interview. The second thing I'd say is be prepared, right? I think the more that you can prepare ahead of time, the better the whole thing will go. So be prepared, review the job description that was posted, review the qualifications. Again, think about how you match up with those, similar to what I said during the application process. Look at all of that again, right? How do you match up? And think about how you sell your skills and experience to be a good fit for that job. So I think preparation is huge. The other one I'd say is do a little homework on the organization, right? Learn who we are and what we do, never hurts. You should know what you're getting into. Think about how you want to present yourself and just prepare. So preparation to me is probably by far the biggest piece of advice.
Preparation is key.
It's key.
It's key. So tell us again, for someone who's looking to apply for a job with M.MTA, where do they go? How do they apply?
Two primary ways. Biggest would be go to the website, so mta.maryland.gov. Under there, there's a menu across the top. You'll see a link to About Us, which is about MTA. Under there, there's an Employment at MTA section. So click on that, learn a bit about us, and there's a link to the job posting site. So that's probably the best way to do it. If that doesn't work for you, or you choose not to do that, or you just want to come see a smiling face, you can visit our office. And in that case, again, we're at 6 St. Paul Street in Baltimore, downtown, and our office is on the 5th floor.
So Brian, thanks again for coming on the show, and congratulations again on your new job.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Thank you. Coming up next, M.MTA Police are looking for a few good men and women to help fill their ranks. Stay with us.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
M.MTA Police have an important job in transit. It's to keep the various services of the M.MTA safe. The agency's police force is presently looking for a few good men and women to fill its ranks. Lieutenant E. Lee Fenner and Officer David Trusty of the M.MTA Police Force join us to talk about their current recruiting efforts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So explain to me, what is the mission of the M.MTA Police Force?
Well, our mission is to professionally enforce the laws, protect our transit community, employees, and facilities with dignity and respect.
Now, I know that you all cover a large territory, much outside of Baltimore as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, well, our primary focus is the Baltimore area region. However, we do respond to calls of service outside of Baltimore, and we are responsible for the safety and security of all MTA transit modes and facilities within Maryland. We do have memorandums of understanding with local and state law enforcement agencies to provide additional coverage.
So I know that's a big job and it probably takes a lot of people to do it. What exactly is the size of the MDOT police force?
We have 182 sworn personnel, but our total size is 232 members of the police force.
Describe for us the units and departments that make up the MDOT police force.
Well, we have a few units. We have a K-9 unit, which consists of 4 TSA-trained K-9 units that are responsible for targeting hardening our system against terrorist attacks. We also have a criminal investigation unit, which consists of an elite group of detectives that respond to serious crimes and incidents within our system. Currently, they have a 90% clearance rate on robberies, which is one of the highest in the nation.
And I understand that MDOT police, our system, is the safest of the 12 largest U.S. transit agencies
Yes.
across the country. So that's
Yes.
something to be commended for.
Yes.
And you all are currently recruiting, I understand. So what types of positions are you recruiting for and where are you looking?
Well, we're trying to bolster our ranks of officers, but we're also looking for police communication officers as well as police monitoring facility supervisors.
And what are some of the qualifications that are needed to join the MDOT police force?
For officers, you must be 20 and a half years old. You must have a high school diploma or GED. You must have a valid driver's license with no more than 2 points within the last 3 years. You also must be a U.S. citizen.
Just say a candidate is accepted. What's the process then to actually becoming an official police officer on the force?
They must pass a written examination, an oral interview, a physical agility test, a background investigation, psychological and medical screenings, as well as they must attend a 6-month academy training, as well as additional 2 months of field training.
You want to make sure they're ready.
Yes, ma'am.
So with the training, tell us a little bit about that. Like, what are some of the areas of study, during the training process?
Well, officers are specifically trained in criminal investigations. They're also trained in accident investigation, use of force, which consists of defensive tactics, taser, weapons qualification, active shooter training, de-escalation, as well as first aid.
And if you're interested in becoming a police officer, tell us a little bit about the benefits as far as salary, maybe your medical benefits.
Starting salary is currently $35,000. Upon graduation, officers will be bumped up to $46,000. Benefits include health care, paid vacations, paid sick leave, paid personal leave days, as well as a law enforcement pension package, uniforms, and cleaning allowance.
And what are the opportunities for advancement?
Officers can apply to become supervisors in the form of corporals or sergeants, as well as they have the opportunity to apply for some of the specialized units.
And Officer Trustee, how long have you been with MDOT Police and what made you want to be a police officer?
All right, it's coming up on 2 years in August. I always had a strong interest for public safety, so I would like to make a difference in society. So that's why I wanted to become a police officer.
And it sounds like the training period was pretty rigorous. So how was that experience for you?
At times it was grueling, but being in the academy for 7 months and 3 weeks, I learned a lot, gained a lot of skills and education. And as for the defensive tactics, it also got me ready for the hands-on police work that we have to deal with at times.
So was the policing and the training, was it everything you thought it would be?
Absolutely, yes. Policing in the communities, I already knew it was a tough job, but at any given point, policing will still be my first choice.
And as a career officer, where would you say you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, as a patrol officer now, I want to be able to gain as much knowledge and also get the experience. So when that 5-year mark hits, I would love to become a sergeant so I could be knowledgeable to my officers. And once my 10th year, I would still like to rise up in the ranks to lieutenant.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So if someone is interested in a career with the MDOT Police Force, where can they go for more information?
They can go to mta.maryland.gov/police, or you can go on our Instagram page at MTA Maryland.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great talking with you, and good luck with the recruiting efforts.
Thank you.
Just ahead, a look at MTA bus operator training efforts.
full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
It takes a lot to get an MDOT MTA bus operator on the streets and ready for service. There's a comprehensive training program that's part of preparing and certifying each and every operator for duty. Acting Director of Training and Development, Elmer Coppage, joins us with a look at this important training. Welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you.
Yes.
So tell us, why is bus operator training so important, and how does it tie into the mission of MDOT MTA?
Well, bus operator training is so important because we need to provide the candidates with the knowledge, the skills, and the ability to do the job. And it ties into the mission because it supports the business needs of the MDOT MTA.
And how do you go about finding and selecting bus operator trainees?
Our HR department supports us in that effort, and they do a great job of providing us with the best candidate for the job. And it's up to our department to assure that the individuals meet the standards and the high expectations that we have at the MDOT MTA.
Tell us a little bit about what it takes to actually be an MDOT MTA bus operator, some of the key requirements.
Some of the key requirements is a CDL permit with a passenger endorsement along with a DOT card. Or the person can have a full CDL license, whether it be an A or B, with the CDL P along with the DOT card as well. Candidates would have to be at least 21 years of age. And one of the most important requirements is to come with a positive attitude and a great outlook on providing world-class customer service.
Right, because you're dealing with the public.
Exactly.
So for those that are looking to be a bus operator, tell us about some of the benefits of being part of transit.
Some of the benefits of being a part of transit is that transit will always be relevant. And when you look at the great things that are going on in the industry, why not be a part of that? When you're a part of connecting people to life's opportunities, that says it all. And when you look at the great things that you're able to do outside of the industry, like provide for your family, the exposure to different things around the world that are connected to transit. And those are some of the benefits to being in transit.
How many bus operators would you say generally make up one of your training classes, and how many classes are held each year to get the operators prepared to hit the streets?
Well, our classes range from 15 to 30 candidates per class. And we normally have between 5 to 10 classes per year.
Mm-hmm. And I know that training is a big part of it because, like you said, you just have to have them ready, dealing with the customers on the street. How would you say that the training has changed and evolved over the years? Our
training has evolved in many ways. When you look at the technology that we have introduced our new candidates to, and then when you look at the adult learner, it's important to keep the adult learner engaged. And so we use that technology such as turning point technology, which engage the adult learner. But most importantly, we use what we call the Kirkpatrick model. We introduced that to our training program. And the Kirkpatrick model is one of those models that will determine if our training program is effective.
Okay.
And so with that being said, that's some of the things that we have introduced to our training program, and it is working. It is working. When you look at how our operators are successful going through the program, and they're able to provide that safe, efficient, reliable, world-class customer service, we know that those things are working.
And with that particular model, how are you able to measure success? I know you said you use it for that purpose, but how is that used exactly?
It's 4 levels to the Kirkpatrick model, and I won't name all 4, but to give you an example of level 3, level 3 is where you take the learning, the transfer from learning to on-the-job performance. That is a key element to the success of what we do in the training department. And so when we're able to see that happens, we know that we're on the right track.
How many modules actually make up the training process, and what does each module include?
There are a total of 6 phases to the training program. The first phase would be bus familiarization. Second phase would be the obstacle course training. Third phase would be our road training. Fourth phase would be CDL. The fifth phase is passenger service training, and the final phase would be route training.
And just real quickly, where do the trainings normally take place?
The training take place at our 2 main hubs, which is 1515 Washington Boulevard. And the second location would be our Northwest Training Facility.
Okay. And how important, I know you mentioned the customer interaction, how important is the customer service element in your training for your bus operators?
It is extremely important. When you look at the way that our agency is designed, is based on customer service, internal and external customer service. And so that's one of the key elements. And we have an awesome customer service training program within our training program. And we're very proud to have that. And when you look at our operators who are out there working day in and day out to provide that service, I believe that they're doing an excellent job of that, and I have to contribute that to the training that our training professionals within the department provide.
If someone's interested in being a bus operator for MDOT-MTA, where can they go or what can they do to apply?
Well, they can reach out to our HR department, which is located at 6 St. Paul Street on the 5th floor, or they can just go to the website, which is www.mta.maryland.gov.
Well, it certainly seems like you're getting the right people on the bus. Thanks so much for coming and joining us again on the show.
Well, thank you, and it's always a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, you're always welcome to come back.
Well, thank you.
Coming up next, we'll meet the newly crowned winner and champion of the MDOT-MTA Rail Rodeo. Stay with us.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
On the second Saturday in April, the best operators of MDOT-MTA Light Rail Link and Metro Subway Link gathered to compete for the coveted title of Rail Champion at the agency's annual Rail Rodeo competition. And of course, only one of them walked away as champion. Please join me in welcoming the 2018 winner and champion of the MDOT-MTA Rail Rodeo competition, Earleet Kidd. Welcome to Commuter Connections.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
So how does it feel to not only win this year's Rail Rodeo, but to be one of the first female winners of the competition?
It feels great. I'm excited. It's like, you know, my pictures everywhere, and it's fun.
So tell us, give me a little bit of background, like for some of our viewers who are not familiar. Tell us a little bit about what the Rail Rodeo is and the whole purpose of it.
Well, the purpose of it is to pick the best of the best. You get bragging rights for a year. It consists of different tests. We test your customer service. They test your appearance as far as your uniform and being prepared for work. They test the actual operation of the train, the movement of the train, safety, inspecting the train, picking, you know, making sure the train is safe for passenger service.
So it's a lot that gets covered there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like roughly how many participants normally participate each year, and how are they selected?
This year we had 7 participants. This was my first year competing. So I would say probably for the rail, I would say we probably have up to 15 or so people sometimes. But I guess it all depends on who's qualified and, you know, who has time and who has the nerve.
That's what it is, right? Who's willing to step up and actually say they're going to compete. And when and where do you normally hold the event?
Normally, it's either at the light rail Cromwell's yard, or they hold it at Metro Subway yard.
So you mentioned some of the things that you actually get judged on. Like even for you, what did it take to actually prepare yourself so that the day of the competition you knew you were ready?
For me, it was kind of easy because this is stuff that I do every day. So it's just like my one training day took probably about 15 minutes. I just went and she ran us through the course, just things to look for. And I mean, it's basically what we do every day. But it's kind of nerve-wracking when you have somebody standing over top of you and they're judging you and they're writing things down. But it's basically everything that we do every day.
And so you're actually able to train with someone?
Yeah, you get a quick, just a run through of what they're expecting and what they're looking for. And that's probably a few days before. And then it's up to you to just do what you do every day.
Okay, and I'm sure lots of eyes are watching. You just want to make sure that you're on point. And as winner, what did you receive? I kind of heard a little bit about that.
I got the coveted parking space. I would get it's kind of made like a class ring, but I get a ring, a championship ring.
Oh, okay.
I get to go to Denver, Colorado and compete in the internationals. I think we used to get dinner with the administrator. I think that's one of my prizes. I know I get a jacket, and I get bragging rights for a year. My picture's everywhere.
So it's wonderful. It's definitely worth competing, right?
Yes, it's fun.
And I know that it's more than just the real rodeo competition. I hear it's more like a family event that day. Tell us a little bit about the day's activities.
Well, when the competitors come in, we're basically sequestered from everything else. They put us in a room and we can't talk about the competition, so it's like you just sit here and just don't talk. And they have, this year we had a clown. He did balloons for the kids and we had lunch. It was a little music playing. You kind of get to, the visitors get to watch the competition and, get to see the trains and, see a little bit of what goes into being an operator.
And I know the national competition is next, right?
Yes.
How do you feel about competing nationally?
I'm very nervous. I'm hoping that I can bring the win back to Baltimore. I just want to, get my training packet so I can get into it and, know what I need to know so I can hopefully bring a win back to Baltimore.
So what are you expecting with the national competition, and do you think it's going to be a lot more that you need to do to prepare?
In my mind, I'm thinking that, their system and their rules and regulations are pretty much the same as ours, so it'll probably be more of the specific things that I need to learn, like the stations and the actual, because I'm sure that their trains are a little different from ours, so I would have to, kind of learn their trains and how they feel when they move and things like that.
So have you been riding a train and driving a train for a long time?
I'm coming up on 5 years driving the light rail.
Really, definitely keep us posted. Congratulations again, and we wish you all the best with the national competition.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of another edition of Commuter Connections. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.